Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. It's going to be Andy Schwan, co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy. Yep, Andy, so when we look at Delta Airlines, rallied 50% last year, hit all-time highs. Everybody's traveling. It seems like you look at services data, everybody wants to travel at this point. What kind of data are you guys seeing on Delta ahead of earnings?
Yeah, the data we're seeing on Delta is really a smaller part of the story. I think the bigger part of the story is what we're seeing in the airline industry overall. You know, earlier this year, we were seeing pretty robust demand for airlines, or I should say in late 2024, we were seeing robust demand for airlines, but that's completely reversed. And what was a 15-20% year-over-year increase in web visits to the major airlines has completely reversed to now, negative 10%, negative 20%, depending on the airline. And we're just seeing an overall cooling of consumer enthusiasm for travel. And I think this is kind of that point where we're finally getting to one of those levels where, you guys and I have talked about in the past, at what point does the consumer say, all right, that's enough, I'm tapped out? We're starting to see some signals that may be happening, especially in the leisure travel category. For Delta Airlines specifically, this is a company that we've been bullish on for a really long time. I think given the web data visits that we're seeing right now and the stock price action being up, we're starting to cool off on that and maybe take some chips off the table at this point. Delta is a very, very good airline, really well run, highest on-time percentage on its flights, attracts a higher end customer. They have all the right things going for them, but the overall industry is starting to give us a little bit of concern here.
Yeah, and Andy, this time of year is not great for them seasonally either. January is normally seasonally negative. The historical reaction to fourth quarter earnings is usually somewhat negative. The last 10 years, only 36% of January positive returns. So there is some seasonality, negative sentiment overall for the industry into January as you get out of the holiday traveling. So but you're talking about a much bigger level of weakness than just seasonality. You're talking about the whole industry is softening here, correct?
Yeah, and I'm talking about it on a year-over-year basis. So, we're talking about January of this year compared to January of last year, just a really big reversal. And, I think when I think about Delta Airlines, it actually kind of makes me think of some of the conversations we had around Starbucks a few years ago where, there's growing competition and, macro demand kind of softening. So what did they do? They went and they figured out a way to get more money per customer. And I think that's the challenge that all of these airlines are facing. They're going the premium route in terms of premium experiences and trying to upcharge people for picking the seat that they want, the lounge in the airport that they want, a better in-flight meal experience. And so they have a lot of people captive on these airplanes for a lot of time, and I think there is a significant opportunity to get more money out of each of those passengers. But it feels like that's where we are in this cycle, rather than expanding the number of passengers or customers and winning the battle against other airlines. It's more about capturing a larger part of each passenger's wallet, and I think that's going to be the focus for these companies over the next few years. And I think Delta's probably one of the ones that, given their history of great execution, that will probably do that the best. And so I am bullish on Delta as a company. Just at these levels for the stock, and given what we're seeing in terms of overall industry softening, I'm bullish, but just not right here.
Yeah, and then you throw in the fact that crude oil now getting closer to $75 a barrel. That's not going to help their margins at all, Andy. But when you guys look at the consumer sentiment data as far as what people are saying about the airlines, it's typically like Southwest and American are usually at the bottom. Is Delta still the top as far as satisfaction from the data that you get from the people that you follow?
Yeah, absolutely. They're at the top by a considerable margin. 65% positive in the airline industry is exceptional. Most of these companies hover around 50%. So 65% positive is extremely good. It gives us confidence that Delta's doing the right thing by its passengers, and it also gives us confidence that when they do roll out premium offerings, that customers will be very likely to take advantage of those and trust paying the company more for better services or better experiences. And so I think Delta's in the driver's seat in terms of the next wave of airline monetization. And, they just probably have to get through a little bit of, I have to use the pun. They have to get through a little bit of turbulence to get there.
That's a good one. Andy, going into this earnings, you guys said maybe you're starting to see some weakening data. What's your earnings score on this one going into the report?
Yeah, we're officially neutral. That's really because the stock has moved so high. Again, we think the company's performing well. I am a little worried about the guidance that they'll be able to give, given the softening web visits data that we have. So if I were going to have to place a bet, I think a pullback would probably be most likely.
Yep, and I think there might be some people buying it if it does pull back. All right, great stuff, Andy. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, breaking down the data for you. He's not wrong, Kevin.